Every single one of us is born with a death sentence. That's just life. We all have to die sometime. But will we all have something profound and wise to say at the end of our lives? The deathbed can lead a person to mutter some pretty profound stuff, or not. Although these prolific stars may no longer be with us, their legacy will always live on through their movies, music, speeches, and how they treated their fans. In some cases, they continue to release work posthumously. Get a glimpse into their final moments on earth with their airy, thoughtful, or even funny final words. In this video, we'll go through a list of 50 famous people, but we'll do them in a series of 4 videos. Hopefully, your favorite star isn't on this list, because that will mean they're dead. But if they're on this list, that's just life, right? With that said, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss our future video posts, but more specifically, the continuation of this series. Welcome to the part 1. The king of pop's final last words were, "More milk." Conrad Murray, his personal physician, said he was pleading and begging to please let him have some milk because that was the only thing that would work. The disgraced doctor was referring to propofol, the powerful hospital anesthetic Jackson overdosed on the day he died. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson fell unconscious while lying in bed at his rented mansion in Los Angeles. MJ was reportedly not breathing and CPR was performed. Resuscitation efforts continued en route to Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, and for more than an hour after arriving there at 1:13 p.m., he was pronounced dead at 2:26 p.m. Pacific Time. Michael Jackson was an American singer, songwriter, record producer, dancer, and actor. Called the King of Pop, his contributions to music, dance, and fashion, along with his publicized personal life, made him a global figure in popular culture for over 4 decades. Jackson's death triggered a global outpouring of grief. The news spread quickly online, causing websites to slow down and crash from user overload. Both TMZ and the Los Angeles Times suffered outages. Google initially believed that the millions of search requests meant for their search engine was under DDoS attack and blocked searches related to Michael Jackson for 30 minutes. Twitter reported a crash, as did Wikipedia. Bob Marley's values and beliefs were such that Jamaica's most famous son refused the toe amputation that might well have saved his life, following diagnosis with cancer in 1977. Instead, the strict Rastafarian Bob Marley faced up to the inevitable with few complaints or regrets. When his time came, the reggae great summed up his philosophies in a heartfelt bedside message to his musician son, Ziggy. He said, "Money can't buy life." Marley was flying home from Germany to Jamaica when his vital functions took a bad turn. After landing in Miami, Florida, he was taken to the hospital for immediate medical attention. Bob Marley died on 11th May 1981 at Cedars of Lebanon Hospital in Miami, now known as the University of Miami Hospital, at the age of 36. The spread of melanoma to his lungs and brain caused his death. Music diva Whitney Houston's last words were, "I'm gonna go see Jesus. Want to see Jesus." On February 9th, 2012, Houston visited singers Brandy and Monica, together with Clive Davis, at their rehearsals for Davis' pre-Grammy Awards party at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. That same day, she made her last public performance when she joined Kelly Price on stage in Hollywood, California, and sang "Jesus Loves Me." 2 days later, on February 11th, Houston was found unconscious in Suite 434 at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, submerged in the bathtub. Beverly Hills paramedics arrived at approximately 3:30 p.m. and found the singer unresponsive and performed CPR. Houston was pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. The cause of death was immediately not known. Local police said there were no obvious signs of criminal intent. On 22nd March 2012, the Los Angeles County's coroner's office reported the cause of Houston's death was drowning and the effects of atherosclerotic heart disease and cocaine use. The office stated the amount of cocaine found in Houston's body indicated that she used the substance shortly before her death. Toxicology results revealed additional drugs in her system. Comedian and actor Robin Williams' last known message was addressed to his daughter Zelda on the social media site Instagram. It read, #TBT and happy birthday to Miss Zelda Rye Williams. Quarter of a century old today, but always my baby girl. Happy birthday at Zelda Williams. Love you. Williams committed suicide on August 11th, 2014 at his home in California at the age of 63. In the initial report released on August 12th, the Marin County's Sheriff's Office Deputy Coroner stated Williams had hanged himself with a belt and died from asphyxiation. It was revealed following his death that Williams had been suffering from severe depression and had been sleeping in a different room from his wife due to restlessness and anxiety caused by his Parkinson's. Robin Williams' only daughter tweeted back to her father's final public words in which he pledged his love for his little girl. She reciprocated with, "I love you, I miss you, I'll keep trying to look up." In her tweet, she quotes The Little Prince, a French illustrated book for children by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. You alone will have all the stars as no one else has them. In one of them I shall be laughing, and so it will be as if all the stars were laughing. When you look at the sky at night, you, only you, will have stars that can laugh. Actor Heath Ledger's last words were, Katie, look, it will be fine, you know. I just need to get some sleep." Ledger said this over the phone to his sister Katie when he was anxious about not being able to sleep. He was going to take sleeping pills on top of his prescriptions for a chest cold, and his sister warned him not to. On 22nd of January 2008, Ledger was found unconscious in his bed by his housekeeper, Teresa Solomon, and his masseuse, Diana Wolozin, in his 4th-floor loft apartment in Manhattan. 2 weeks later, on 6th February 2008, the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner of New York released its conclusions, based on an initial autopsy of 23rd January 2008 and a subsequent complete toxicological analysis. The report concludes in part, Mr. Heath Ledger died as a result of acute intoxication by the combined effects of oxycodone, hydrocodone, diazepam, temazepam, alprazolam, and doxylamine. It states definitively, "We have concluded that the manner of death is accident, resulting from the abuse of prescribed medications." Apple founder Steve Jobs died at his Palo Alto, California home around 3 p.m. on October 5th, 2011. This was due to complications from a relapse of his previously treated islet cell neuroendocrine pancreatic cancer, resulting in respiratory arrest. He had lost consciousness the day before, and he died with his wife, children, and sisters at his side. This is how his sister, Mona Simpson, described his death. Steve's final words hours earlier were monosyllables, repeated 3 times. Before embarking, he'd looked at his sister Patty, then for a long time at his children, then at his life's partner Lorraine, and then over their shoulders past them. Steve's final words were, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." He then lost consciousness and died several hours later. Governor Jerry Brown of California declared Sunday, October 16, 2011 to be Steve Jobs Day. On that day, an invitation-only memorial was held at Stanford University. Those in attendance included Apple and other tech company executives, members of the media, celebrities, close friends of Jobs, and politicians, along with Jobs' family. Bono, Yo-Yo Ma, and Joan Baez performed at the service, which lasted longer than an hour. The service was highly secured, with guards at all of the university's gates and a helicopter flying overhead from an area news station. Comedian and actor Chris Farley's last day was Wednesday, December 17th of 1997. He spent it primarily with a hooker named Heidi. She joined Farley at a party in Lincoln Park in Chicago at 11 a.m. There were drugs going around. Later that day, Heidi took Farley back to her apartment, where they continued to smoke crack and snort heroin. Farley was clearly inebriated, and as he was leaving his apartment, he collapsed about 10 feet from the door. Heidi claimed she could hear that he was having difficulty breathing. He said to her, "Don't leave me." Figuring he had finally passed out, she snapped a photograph of him lying there and then left. Chris Farley's brother John found him the next afternoon. Chris was still lying 10 feet from the door, wearing sweatpants and an open button-down shirt. He was supposedly clutching a baseball cap and rosary beads. There was a blood-tinged fluid coming from his nose and a white, frothy fluid coming from his mouth. John called 911. Chicago firefighters received the call just after 2 p.m. and Farley was pronounced dead at the scene. He was 33 years old. When the toxicology results came back, his death was ruled as accidental. Chris Farley died of opiate, which is morphine, and cocaine intoxication, and his death was determined to be accident. Other things in his system that did not contribute to his death include Prozac, morphine, and marijuana. Nirvana rock musician Kurt Cobain's final last words on his suicide note were, "It's better to burn out than to fade away." On April 8th, Cobain's body was discovered at his Lake Washington Boulevard home by an electrician named Gary Smith, who had arrived to install a security system. Apart from a minor amount of blood coming out of Cobain's ear, the electrician reported seeing no visible signs of trauma and initially believed that Cobain was asleep until he saw the shotgun pointing at his chin. A note was found, addressed to Cobain's childhood imaginary friend, Boda, that stated that Cobain had not felt the excitement of listening to as well as creating music, along with really writing, for too many years now. A high concentration of heroin and traces of diazepam were also found in his body. Cobain's body had been lying there for days. The coroner's report estimated Cobain to have died on April 5th, 1994. While filming a segment for his show, Steve, the crocodile hunter, was stabbed in the chest by a stingray. He said these words to his cameraman as he realized what was happening. "I'm dying." According to the incident's only witness, all of a sudden, the stingray propped on its front and started stabbing wildly with its tail. Hundreds of strikes in a few seconds. Irwin initially believed he only had a punctured lung. The stingray's barb pierced his heart, causing him to bleed to death. The stingray's behavior appeared to have been a defensive response to being boxed in. Crew members aboard Irwin's boat administered CPR and rushed him to shore. Medical staff pronounced him dead at the scene. Irwin's death is believed to be the only fatality from a stingray ever captured on video. News of Irwin's death prompted reactions around the world. Then Prime Minister John Howard expressed shock and distress at the death, saying, "Australia has lost a wonderful and a colorful son." English singer Amy Winehouse's last words were, "I don't want to die." Winehouse said this over the phone to her doctor 2 hours before she was found dead. Winehouse's bodyguard said that he arrived at her residence 3 days before her death and felt she was somewhat intoxicated. He observed moderate drinking over the next few days. He observed her laughing, listening to music, and watching TV at 2 a.m. the day of her death. According to the bodyguard, at 10 a.m., he observed her lying on her bed and tried unsuccessfully to rouse her. This did not raise much suspicion because she usually slept late after a night out. According to the bodyguard, shortly after 3 p.m., he checked on her again and observed her lying in the same position as before, leading to a further check in which he concluded that she was not breathing and had no pulse. He said he subsequently called emergency services. A coroner's inquest reached a verdict of misadventure. The report, released on 26 October 2011, explained that Winehouse's blood alcohol content was 416 milligrams per 100 milliliter at the time of her death. That is more than 5 times the legal drink-drive limit. According to the coroner, the unintended consequences of such potentially fatal levels was her sudden death. Prince was an American singer, songwriter, record producer, multi-instrumentalist, actor, and director. He was known for his electric work, flamboyant stage presence, extravagant dress and makeup, and a wide vocal range. His innovative music integrated a wide variety of styles, including funk, rock, R&B, new wave, soul, psychedelia, and pop. He sold over 100 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists of all time. He won 8 Grammy Awards, 6 American Music Awards, a Golden Globe Award, and an Academy Award for the 1984 film Purple Rain. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004. Prince died on April 21st at the age of 57 after being found unresponsive in an elevator at his Paisley Park, which was his home and recording studio in Chanhassen, Minnesota. Toxicology tests for Prince concluded that the entertainer died from an accidental overdose of the opioid fentanyl, according to a report on his death by the Midwest Medical Examiner's Office. Prince's lawyer, Landell Macmillan, spoke to Prince the Sunday before he died, after it was reported that his plane made an emergency landing to deal with a medical emergency involving the singer. Prince assured Macmillan he was fine. He said he was doing perfect, Macmillan recalled. He said, "Okay, I'll call you soon." "I'm going to the bathroom to read." Those were the words musician Elvis Presley said to his fiancée, Ginger Eldon, early in the morning of August 16, 1977, at his Memphis mansion, Graceland. They were the last words he ever spoke. Hours later, at 2 p.m., she woke up and noticed Presley hadn't returned to bed. She knocked on the bathroom door, calling his name, and then opened it. In it, she reveals how she found the singer slumped over on the bathroom floor. When she bent down to touch him, his skin was cold and was not breathing. It was a tragic event. Elvis suffered from multiple ailments: glaucoma, high blood pressure, liver damage, and an enlarged colon, each aggravated and possibly caused by drug abuse. Genetic analysis of a hair sample in 2014 found evidence of genetic variants that could have caused his glaucoma, migraines, and hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Winding up our list in this part 1 is rock musician John Lennon. His last words were, "I am shot," which he said to the receptionist of the building he was entering. John Lennon was an English musician who gained worldwide fame as one of the members of the Beatles, for his subsequent solo career and for his political activism and pacifism. He was shot by Mark David Chapman in the Archway of the Dakota, his residence in New York City, on 8th of December 1980. Lennon, aged 40 at the time, had just returned from Record Plant Studio with his wife, Yoko Ono. After sustaining 4 major gunshot wounds, Lennon was pronounced dead on arrival at Roosevelt Hospital. At the hospital, it was stated that nobody could have lived for more than a few minutes after sustaining such injuries. Shortly after local news stations reported Lennon's death, crowds gathered at Roosevelt Hospital and in front of the Dakota. Lennon was cremated on December 10, 1980, at the Fancliffe Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York. The ashes were given to Ono, who chose not to hold a funeral for him. Check out part 2 of this series and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.